What's all? It's me, Tokkuri Yashi. Today we're going to be having a look at our new Prifest character, Violet, who likes to drink, is it cranberry tea? I don't know, maybe blood orange tea, but whatever tea it is, it's probably better than what Echidna was drinking. So, let's first go and have a look at a banner. It's a Prifest banner here until the 3rd of May. Prifest banners are always very short. There is no rate up on this for 3 stars, there's no boosted 3-star rates. There's no prize gotcha either. We will be getting another Prifest banner, I believe, at the end of June. So about 2 months' time. However, if you didn't take a look at my summons on Violet yet, it did seem like it was a 3-star rate up banner. I got a lot of 3 stars, so if you have another look, it may be worth your while going and take a look at my summons. So let's go then and have a look at Violet herself and what she actually does. So as we can see here from this image, Violet here is a dark character. She is a tank. She's also physical, but I wouldn't think that would make too much of a difference because she's one of these characters that can work very well on a physical or a magical team. And her position is 154, which means she just sits very far to the front. Only Halloween Smuga, Yamato, the 2 Kukas, and Miyako on a dark physical team are in front of her, which means we're not going to really have the huge problems of having to use Makoto 6-star to face tank anymore, because she just sits just in front of her, which is a pretty good thing. And while we've got this up, we'll have a look at her loot pattern here, because it's quite important. You can see she starts off with her special skill. She has a special skill. First action, only ever used once. Skill 2, again, is only ever used once here, and then when she gets into a loop pattern, it's just a normal attack and skill 1 that she is using. So, let's have a look at Violet here. Quickly, we'll just go in and have a look at her stats here. You've got 182,000 hit points. Defenses are in the high 2,000s. If we compare this to Yamato, now if we're going to want to compare this to Yamato, Yamato is done. That's what people are saying. She has got more hit points and more defense than Yamato. She should be a tankier character. There is a difference though. Yamato is multiple target, where Violet is single target. So Yamato's use, even though it wasn't very big to start with, is probably going to be a little bit less now than it was before. Anyway, let's get in then and start looking at Violet's skills. We'll start off with this special skill then, as this is the first skill that she does when she enters battle, and it activates Abhorrent Flames. Now this is an environmental effect that affects all allies and enemies. There are a few characters that have environmental effects, and I did have a question that was quite important and it made me think about this, so we're going to go over that in a little bit here. So what this Abhorrent Flames does is extends the activation interval and duration of continuous damage status ailments. It also puts on this Abhorrent Flames, which is important later. Not 100% sure what that exactly means. It just probably means that the damage over time that she does, which we will see in her other skills, maybe is extended for a little bit longer. So, first of all, I want to talk about these environmental effects. Only one environmental effect can be on the battlefield at once. So, to show that, we're going to go in here, and we're going to go in with a team here with a couple of characters that have environmental effects on them. Lariel does, Nefinera does, so does the Princess Sheffy. So they all have environmental effects. So watch up here in the corner. We'll see they're going to come in, and then the first action that they do is this environmental effect. They're going to put it on. They're all going to fire off in quick succession here. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, hey, the only one that is available to us now is Lariel's, because it looks like they come in and they do them in the order that they are here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last character is going to be the one with the environmental effects activated. Let's quit out of this. We'll go in with Violet's. Don't necessarily have to be extreme. Go in here with just Violet's and other characters that, there we go, it doesn't really matter who we have, who don't have an environmental effect. So we'll see Violet comes in, she puts on their environmental effect, and it will stay up because she's the only one with an environmental effect here. Here we go. Now our environmental effects is up. Abhorrent Flames is up there. You may be running a team. I don't think you're going to be running with L'Ariel. Potentially on a Dark Fire team, you might want to be running Nefinera. But I think if you did a Dark and Water team like this, that might be a problem. As you can see what's going to happen here, as we've probably already gone over, Violet will put up here environmental effect, and then Sheffy will put up hairs and cancel it, which means none of Violet's environmental effects will be up. There we go, and that was a lot easier to see. So now we've just got Sheffy's environmental effects up. So that's shown that we can only have one environmental effect up at once, which when we go back in to Violet, we can see could be quite important. Something to bear in mind when using characters with environmental effects, which means Abhorrent of Flames here will not be up if you are using it with another character with an environmental effect. So let's look at their skill 2 here, which is again only used once and is the second action, and this applies defilement to self and slightly boosts physical and magical defense. So while defilement is activated, it will convert 30% of the damage that she receives from enemies into continuous damage. I believe what that means is when she takes damage, instead of taking it all in one big lump as soon as it hits her, 30% of it will be spread out over the next few seconds. Not 100% sure how many seconds it is, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 12 seconds, the usual times that we get for these skills, which could help us survive, because you'll be able to heal up whilst that damage is being taken at a slightly slower rate. And this is a skill effect, does not activate outside of Abhorrent Flames. So there we go, if she does not have her environmental effect up, you will not be getting these skills active, which is what I was just showing earlier. It's very important to note this. If you run it with Sheffy, if you run it with Nefinera, you probably won't be getting this up because their environmental effect will have been cancelled. Continuous damage does not recover allies TP. So there we go, we've got this defilement on, boosting their own physical and magical defense. This is only 90 seconds, so it will be not the full fight, but most of the fight this will be up. So let's have a look. We're looking backwards today. Here's skill 1 here. This is the only skill she does during the battle continuously. As we can see, she deploys a barrier that negates physical and magical damage, boosts all allies physical and magical defense, 351 there, 12 seconds, lowers enemies physical attack and magical attack. Another nail in the coffin of Commander Makoto. This was one of the things that she did that we didn't really have elsewhere. Now Violet's come and does it, so we're probably not going to be using Commander Makoto even more now. How is the enemies? There we go. We already did that bit. Whilst Abhorrent Flames is active, there we go again. Whilst Abhorrent Flames is active, so it won't be active if you've got somebody else on the team that's cancelled her environmental effects. You will then recover allies' hit points, recover allies' TP, and deal damage equal to 10% of the maximum hit points of the opponent, up to 444,444. Again, having that Abhorrent Flames cancelled, she's going to be missing out on this hit points, this TP, and this small amount of damage. As a tank, she really doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but that is not really what her role is. So quickly, Union Burst then, which lowers enemies' physical defense and magical defense. There we've got 176 for 18 seconds, whilst Abhorrent Flames is active again. If she hasn't got that active, all she's doing is lowering physical and magical defense on this Union Burst. And this will increase the debuff amounts inflicted, and then inflicts this lethargic spirit status on the front enemy. It's going to be then moderately restoring her own hit points there, dealing continuous damage, percentage based damage to the opponent, which I think is 4% over 10 seconds, maxing out at 444,444. And then you've also got down here lowering the enemy's physical and magical defense. I guess that's the extra that she gets on top of this initial debuff when we've got this Abhorrent Flames active. This damage here, she doesn't do a huge amount of damage. I'm not completely sure exactly how it works. Maybe I should be saying that. But running her, she's a tank, she doesn't do a huge amount of damage, so it's maybe not something that we need to worry about too much. So, there we go. That is Violet, the new Prifest character. She's a very, very, very good character. She doesn't have any conditions, as we can see there. We can run her on a magical team, on a physical team, because she's lowering both magical and physical defense. We can run her on any elemental team. There's no elemental restrictions in there. Lowering defense, boosting allies' defense, putting up a defensive barrier, lowering attack, healing TP, whilst being pretty tanky. A very, very good character to have with a lot of utility. Although, unlike last year's Golden Week Prefest anemone, she's not coming out with a lot of. She's not coming out shouting with a lot of energy. She's a bit more of a quiet character that just gets on and does her job very well. The last thing, she covers Grace's weaknesses very well. On a dark physical team, you would run Grace as the 200% speed buffer, and then you may end up dying because we didn't really have the healing, we didn't have the damage barriers or anything there, so we ended up using Eris instead. Now we've got Violet. She does what Eris did minus the revive. Keep with the barrier, with the defense lowering, with the attack lowering, with the healing, and then Grace can do what she does with her action speed buff. So, good luck to everybody that summons for Violet. Hope that you can get her. She is a pretty good Prefest character, but a little quiet one, a little bit one that's going to go under the radar a little bit, but she's going to be very good and have a lot of utility, being able to be used on magical teams, physical teams, and on mixed element teams. There we go, let me know what you think of it. I am Tokkuri Yashi. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all again for another video. Bye bye. Yay.